Razor, I can't stop eating. I'm telling you, it's bad. I can't stop eating.
Not even Christmas yet.
I know.
It's not even the real holidays yet.
Well, but the thing is, Thanksgiving is the ultimate holiday. For me, it's my ultimate favorite holiday. You know, Christmas, Hanukkah is great for the kids. You see that, but like for me, it's Thanksgiving. But so I'm eating. Normally, I work out a lot. Not a lot. I work out, and then to kind of justify, I haven't been able to do any of that. So with everybody in town, so Mr. Heavy and Happy here with you right now. As we welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Happy the Bruins win as we sit and record this episode of Morning Brew. It's December 1st at night. Bruins beat the Montreal Canadiens 6-3. The Centennial game. The Bruins celebrate on the ice, and I think they'll celebrate a little bit off the ice too, again, as they win. Razor, we did not do a show after the Pittsburgh Penguins game. And while I don't want to get into much of that, my friend, it has to be acknowledged that was not pretty. That was not a pretty game from the sense of just the result, but also kind of stylistically as well. We'll get into that just for a moment. We're first going to tell you that for Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is proudly presented by Fazenda Coffee. Fazenda Coffee Roasters is the trusted partner for cafes, bakeries, and restaurants. They've got expertly roasted specialty coffee that helps businesses elevate their menu, and they offer an unforgettable coffee experience, but they also do it for wholesale. So if you want to order some Fazenda coffee, and they've got all types, go check out fazendacoffee.com. And if you want to specifically look at the Morning Brew stuff, go fazendacoffee.com/morning brew. We're continuing to wear our hats proudly, Razor.
Yes, very proudly.
Very proudly. Only one person has said anything about it. He will not get his name mentioned. But because he does an awful lot, we'll consider a hat for him. What do you think?
We'll consider that, and we'll also leave his name out of it.
Yeah.
We'll out of respect. But if it happens again, then his name's going to.
And then his name will absolutely
it's coming out, and it's unnecessary.
All right, go check out fazendacoffee.com/morning brew. Fazenda Coffee, the proud sponsor in pod of Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. All right, first, before we get to everything else, my diatribe over. How was your holiday? Chaos, controlled chaos, no chaos? Which one of the three?
Yeah, it was basically no chaos. Sometimes Thanksgiving with my in-laws can turn into chaos or turn into drama, but we didn't have any of that this year, so that was nice. It was good. Everyone had fun. And when I allude to Christmas, like the holiday season, there's a lot of holiday parties that I know you are going to over the next 3 weeks, and that's where you really get into. So yes, I know Thanksgiving's your favorite, but it's also going to bleed into the next 3 weeks. So you've got parties coming up. I know that for a fact. And there's going to be a lot of food at all those. So we're all kind of in one for 5 weeks. It's going to be hard.
I have to get motivated though. I have to get remotivated. Maybe it'll start tomorrow morning. I was doing pretty good. I skated a couple days before Thanksgiving. So maybe I felt justified, but now I don't. Now I just feel like I'm large and in charge. It's scary. It's like I have no pushback, no off switch. I haven't been, the only one thing that saves me is I haven't been drinking much. I did drink a little bit. I had a couple of, with Thanksgiving, and then we went out to dinner with my family on Saturday night. So I had a couple there and a little wine there and everything. So anyway,
yeah. So again, you're going to have a bunch of these little wine nights.
I haven't been doing it though. I really haven't been drinking.
No, I'm going into solid, like dry January is happening. Solitude. It's just life's too short to negate the.
I know. I agree. I just went through a thing recently where I'm like, I wasn't drinking so much, but I just said, I'm going to stop drinking for now. I'm going to just try to cleanse the system. And problem is I eat too much and I eat everything. And it's a long way of getting into happy Thanksgiving, happy holiday, beginning of the holiday season to everybody. Yeah. The Bruins, let's start with the Centennial celebration because it's highly worth it.
Yeah.
Listen, the Bruins, and I know we're very close. We're inside. When I mean inside, we are somewhat part of it. And this isn't black and gold color glasses, but holy smokes, did they do a tremendous job. When you think about everything they did from 1 year ago to tonight, the Boston Bruins, whether it is, the execs or the people just doing a lot of the work, should be commended. And especially the people doing a lot of the work should be highly commended for everything that they pulled off. There's too many people to name by name, but they have done some amazing stuff and capped off by a beautiful Centennial celebration, Razor.
They surpassed and knocked the hell out of expectations the last 15 months. Like, smoked them. And like you said, it's Charlie, it's Cam, it's Don, but then it's all the people that we work with, right? The people that we see on a daily basis. It's right through the organization. It was awesome. Really, really impressive. I'm glad for all of them. It culminated in an awesome night tonight and a great win. But they've been at this for 15 months, folks, and a lot of days, and everybody gets credit for it. The people that worked on a daily basis with it, but also the initiative to come from the chairman to Charlie to Cam. They were all in on it, and they all put a lot of time and effort into it. And it was cool that they pulled it off tonight, but also that how well they've done over the last 15 months.
The execution is the culmination of intense planning. And I'd be curious to talk with those people, like which one was
the drone
harder.
Like, just to interrupt, the drone thing was nuts. Like, that was so cool.
Yeah.
And to, like, that's out of the box for what we think of the Boston. Like, that was awesome.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen it, folks, check out the Boston Bruins social media. It was all over the place around, I'm going to say 9:30 this morning or so. It started to come out. A fantastic 3.5 minute drone short movie, whatever you want to call it, short feature. I don't flying through the skies from outside TD Garden on Causeway into the Garden, throughout every little nook and cranny, and the incorporation of so many people into it that got cameo appearances was spectacular. It was fun. It was, when I say funny, you know what I mean? Like, oh, there's that guy, there's this guy. That was great. It was wonderfully done, and again, executed. But so I'd be curious to ask the people really involved, was the planning harder or the execution of once you planned it? Which one, or were they equal? Regardless of what they say, they did a tremendous job. Really did. Major kudos to them. And this was, when you think about it, and when I hear the guys, especially the guys coming back from generations past, not to take anything away from your generation and stuff, but when you see the Wayne Cashmans come back, and we get to see Terry O'Reilly, but you get to see other people back that you don't get to see an awful lot, and you hear them say about how amazing everything looks, how everything has been, how every detail has been covered, not just for them, but for the whole event of everything. That's when you look at it and you say the totality of the moment, the year celebration. It's something huge, because to be the oldest U.S. hockey team playing the NHL, it's something that should be very much celebrated, in my opinion. And at first, I don't want to say I wasn't sure about that, but I don't know if I understood the magnitude of it. And then you see the ball, the celebration, then you see the other things, and you hear the stories, and you see the guys, and then you listen to what they say and what it means to them. That's when the totality of it becomes really something special. At least it did to me.
I agree 100% in that it was almost kind of taken for granted, right? Like, the original six. Yeah, the Bruins original six in the early 2000s or whenever it was, 2011 for that matter, 2015. But I think with the Centennial and there's always been a huge connection between, and we talked a lot about it, and the pregame show and the postgame, like, intermission shows, with the players are all very, very connected, because they kind of overlapped all the way through, right through Cam and Ray and Bobby and into Patrice and those guys, and Cam being around those guys. But I think the to have guys like Cash come back and really endorse what's going on changes things. And I think it's been a great reason, the 100 years, for everyone to come back, because maybe no one did. You just didn't, and it was kind of left, to the side. But the fact that everyone's back in and connected, I think has really rejuvenated a lot of guys. And again, small, very, very small in all of this, but the alumni feel stronger now than it did 17 months ago. And that's amazing.
And that's the way it should be. And sometimes it does get lost, whether, that type of thing. And we've seen programs that at times disregard their alum.
Mm-hmm.
And then usually that doesn't translate to good stuff. Usually that translates to shit show. And then somebody new comes in, and then it, comes usually the other way. The Bruins have always done a wonderful job. They've always been an organization. The alumni, because of the network, the area has always done great, right? Like, you can speak to it better than me, but really bringing back some other guys too that hadn't been around has been, again, just to listen to them has been incredibly special. You are one of the more humble people that I've been around. And I'm not going to ask you if you ever sit there and say, I played in the NHL, internally when you're walking around. But have you had the feeling in the last 12 months, 15 months now, at all, where you're like, holy shit, I played for the Boston Bruins. Like, I played for the Boston Bruins, damn it. And you know what? That's pretty freaking cool. And I don't mean that in an arrogant, cocky way, but folks, again, Razor is incredibly humble. I'm saying this not to patron. I'm telling you the honest to God truth. He never big times anything, anybody. He's phenomenal. I am so impressed with everything about him. But holy shit, don't you every once in a while now you say, I played for this organization. I'm a part of this fraternity that not many people are.
Well,
because if you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it for you.
No. I think honestly, I think that's in the last 15 months, like, having this happen has emboldened that a little bit. And, I got drafted in 98, and I got to go to dinner with Harry Sinden after we got drafted. The Bruins had a little party in Buffalo where I got drafted, and my parents and my sister, like, we went and we met Mr. Sinden afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And then to see him talk tonight, it's like, that was really cool that I got to do that. There's, having Cash, and I mentioned on the pregame, Jerry, Cheesy would come to and do juniors. And I think it was more flippant back then. It just was. It wasn't, like, there was, we knew about them as people, but I think, like, as an organization, it's been ingrained a little bit more. And then, so I'm connected a little bit different, and I've got those guys, and then Ray and Kim were around a little bit, and now I have Bergie. So yeah, it's cool. And it's, of course, it's more cool that now I'm kind of doing this and working and around it and see people. So yeah, I think it's been enforced. Well, no, I don't think. I know it's been enforced over the last 15 months of how lucky I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's got to make you feel great, because it is a unique fraternity, and it's a fraternity within a fraternity. The NHL, if you play one game in the NHL, I mean, having played college hockey, I've got so much freaking respect for anybody who can play one game in the NHL, knowing how hard it is just to play college hockey, and then to see the next, it's the level above all other levels, right? But so not only that, you played in the NHL, but then you played for one of the most unique. I'm not saying it's the only great organization. I'm not saying that, but it truly is. It's the oldest. You can't deny that. The oldest U.S. one, and it's special. And New England's unique. And it's the Boston Bruins, but it really represents, well, we know how many fans there are across Canada too, but you know what I mean? Right. It really represents the city and New England. And so just fun. It feels really good being around, seeing the guys. It just does.
They did a great job. It feels good. Enjoy it. It's not happened for another 100 years. So,
exactly. On to the next 100.
It was cool. It was important.
Yes. And I like what Harry said at the end. I love the Harry part of the video about, and now time to move to the next 100 years. I mean, if he's so appropriate to be one to do that for who's seen it. Your favorite moment of, I asked this of Bob Sweeney of Swoop on the pregame show, and he gave us his, I said, look, it's like picking your favorite child, Bob. What moment or event was your favorite in the celebration, in the Centennial celebration over the course of months? So I'll ask you the same thing. What ended up being your either favorite moment or favorite event?
I think that the first one was awesome because it was like, are they going to pull this off?
You're talking about the gala?
The first game, and like Bobby there and Cash there, and like, wow, they did it. They got everybody here. That was the big one for me. Of course, I got lucky to do dinner 3 or 4 in with the 2000, like the 11 was like the main group, but they kind of, they sprinkled Skillsy and I in, and Sergey Samsonov and Mike Knuble, Byron Defoe. So I had a really good dinner and a really good night, but I think for me, it was opening night last year, and they pulled off everybody showing up, or the most important showing up. That was, for me, that was pretty cool that you got to see all those people.
I saw Sergey, by the way, at the Hall of Fame.
In Detroit.
No, I saw him at the Hall of Fame induction.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Serge is the best. Like he's literally my favorite.
I mean, he kind of is a mix of like,
he's kind of Russian, but he's like not
like Russian professor
funny.
Almost.
Yeah, right. He's got that perfect dry sense of humor, and he makes fun of. He's the best. He is funny.
I think, not to go on too much of a tangent here.
Yeah.
And I say this like, I think he was potentially so good, but did he reach his potential as a player? Do you think? Like, he could have. In time, Sergey Samsonov was so.
Oh my god,
he was so good.
So the best. So yeah, we're definitely on a tangent now. 17 minutes in, as I look at this, I'll talk about Serg. So I went and watched Sergey Samsonov. He was on like the traveling Barnaby Circus Russian team that came through Canada when he was like 15. So I was 13 or 14. And I went and watched him play in Belleville. He came to Belleville and played like it wasn't even the Bulls. It was like the second tier down. And everybody went to watch this Sergey Samsonov, who is the greatest 15-year-old hockey player that ever lived. And he scored 4 goals, of course, because that's what Serge did. And then winning the Rookie of the Year. I think about what he would be now. So I don't know if he lived up to his potential or didn't live up to his potential, but I know the climate of the NHL did not benefit him back in 2005 like it would now. So if he was playing now, he's a 140-point player. Like that's what he is in my head. Man, he was
so
awesome.
Good at times. I mean, he had 2 70-plus point seasons with the Bruins, and he never replicated that again in his career.
He carried in the 04 playoffs. Jumbo broke his ribs. It was Nylander, it was Berge, and it was Samsonov. That was our line, and they dominated. We didn't win, but they dominated.
He's so unassuming. He's very unassuming. He just kind of, again, he's kind of like, he looks like this Russian professor, the glasses and whatever. But he always says hello, right? He's
the sweetest person ever.
I mean, yeah. Did you get to see him at all when you were in? I know you. Okay.
Yeah. So we played. He was on the other team, but yes, that was my most exciting part of the weekend was to see him. Because again, it's the same. It's exactly how he is with you. He's just like. And we talked about golf and we laughed about stupid stuff, and he's awesome.
I love it. Good stuff. All right. Well, enough of the tangent. Even though Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is about current Bruins stuff, I think that it was appropriate to go there. Let's get now to where we look at the game. Plural games, but really not going to go much into the Pittsburgh one. I didn't like the Pittsburgh one though, Razor. I didn't. I like the early goal. I don't know if the Bruins thought that after Coyle scores early against Pittsburgh that they're going to be okay. They're going to skate through this one. What I didn't like most about it, of course, I always say the same thing. It's not about they lose. It's the effort. It's how they end up going through the game, the execution, etc. I saw a lot of stuff come back into their game in that Pittsburgh game in particular, middle of the ice stuff, turnover stuff that we hadn't seen. I do think they took Pittsburgh for granted a little bit. I just do, because they should beat that team by 3 goals. They should. And, Pitt felt better about themselves. Yes, it's the Black Friday game. Pitt knows it's a big national TV game. They're proud. I respect all that stuff. But the Bruins, with that early goal by Charlie Coyle, and then I don't know, man. You tell me if you disagree. I mean, I just think that was a wasted opportunity in that game.
Yeah, they got that. The worst thing that happened to them was scoring a minute and a half into the game. It was the Turkey Day. It was Thanksgiving night. A team they should beat, the team they could beat, but also a team, like you said, has a lot of pride, a lot of championships on the other side. It would have been better not to score early. Or if you're going to score early, you better score on them again, because they're going to hang around. Like, they're not going to go away. Sid doesn't go away. Like, he just doesn't. Even if they're down 6-0, he's not going away. So if you're going to score early on these guys, you better bury them. They didn't do that. They weren't able to do that because maybe of their attitude, maybe because they're really not that team yet. And it probably is more that they just can't finish teams off completely at this point. They don't have that in them yet. I think it's gotten better, but the stat that was going around after the Canadiens game, yes, you guys have scored 5 of the 6 games first with Joe Sacco. Well, that's because you guys have been playing good defense. It's not because you're an offensive team that goes out and scores. And that's the Pittsburgh dilemma, is they did that. They went out and scored, and I think they gave up a 2-0 in the next shift. Yeah. So
that goal at the end of the second.
Oh my God.
That was a game there. Like, the fact that they scored early was a negative, as funny as that sounds. But the game changed when Raquel scores at 19:59.
Correct. You don't score on the power play again. And that's, Brad talked about that tonight. You don't score on the power play for 2 periods. And then you give that goal up at the end of the second. And it was all 5 people on the ice made a mistake. Like, everybody made a mistake. That was an easy as it gets with 11 seconds left. And the way they've played in third periods, you didn't have a lot of hope. And they made bad mistakes on the goal in the third period too.
Started to turn the puck over. Pitt started to get again inside. I don't have I can tell you that according to Natural Stat Trick, 13 high slot shots for Pitt in that game. It was fewer if you go by sports logic. Regardless, I can tell you the first 3 games, it was minimal under Sacco, slot shots. And then the next 2 games, the Islander game, which even though they won, it was sloppy at times. But then the Pitt game, there was the most slot shots, inside the dot shots that they'd given up. So that was really seeping into their game again. And, the Tomasino goal, kind of example of turnover and this and that. And then Swayman gets kind of faked out as he does a little hesitation. It goes through the 5 hole. He opens them up and whatever. But again, probably more than I want to get into. But I just don't. I guess the mention is this: the Bruins are better so far under Sacco. But that game was hey, you're not that freaking good just yet moment. That had to have been. I hope it resonated with them.
Yeah, that's all right. Let's wait and see if they can rattle off 9 in a row here. Because that's a game they typically would have won 3-1, 4-1. And it might not have been pretty after a while, but they would have put the kibosh on it. And they're not there yet. They just aren't. So work through it. I thought to segue into tonight's game, the Montreal game, with everybody watching, the entire world of hockey watching, they put the hammer down again. So that's good that they have that in them, but the Pittsburgh game will hang a little bit and certainly hang through the week when we see who they play Detroit, Chicago.
Yeah. Again, it's the old better use it as motivation. And I think they will. I hope they do. They seem to in the Montreal game. Before we get to the
They're
Montreal,
trying to,
they're
right?
trying. Yeah, they are trying.
They're trying. They're trying to use those things as motivation. It's just, to actually do it is different.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess the term I think about is they're still they're hovering. They're kind of floating right now. So that's just what they are. They're just floating around in some good, and sometimes they get the good waters, and other times it's a little bumpier, a little wavier. Let's recognize their sponsors here. Then I want to go into the Montreal game because the Montreal game is one that, we've said this before, hopefully you can build off of. Speaking of building, check out Graciano Construction because they're serving Boston and Greater Metro West area, folks. And they are the contractor who will help you refresh or revitalize your space. They'll help you build whatever you want. They can and will do it all. Doug Graciano and his crew, they make home projects less stressful and actually even enjoyable. GracianoConstruction.com, GRACINO, GracianoConstruction.com, or call 508-330-7589. And you can have a discussion with Doug and his crew about whatever you're looking to do. Trust me, they are the great crew that you want to look at. Speaking of great, Sparks is outstanding. I used it yesterday for a buddy's pair of skates. I know he didn't, but it seemed like this kid walked on cement for about 20 minutes.
That's exactly where I was going.
Oh
you had
my
your
God.
buddy down there, the grinder, and just sparks everywhere.
Oh my God. So I can tell you that Sparks is used by a lot of NHL team razors. And what else about Sparks? Because I can just tell you it is the greatest at-home skate sharpener that money can buy.
No, it's a no-brainer. It's so convenient, so easy, but more importantly, does an amazing job. Does as good of a job as you're going to get anywhere else, and it's in your basement. So you go to sparkshockey.com, use the code BREW50, get $50 off. There's lots of reasons, lots of families, lots of kids to buy this for right now. It's the best hockey purchase that I have in my house. Not even close.
Black Friday specials with Sparks as well, or you can use the code that Razor put out there as well. Visit sparkshockey.com. You will absolutely love this machine. And lastly, for this show, Baydog Canine Adventure Gear, baydog.com, 100% veteran-owned business. And this is just a really great company. And if you've got pets or you know somebody that has pets for holiday season, now is the time to check it out. They are in stores all over the place. We said earlier, West Lebanon Food and Supply in West Lebanon, New Hampshire. The owner there, Geraldine, a huge Bruins fan. I'm going to get to some other. They're at Bark Harbor in Bar Harbor, Maine, and Pet World in Natick and Wag Nation and Newport. It's just awesome, and they really support each other. Now, I had the great privilege to meet Bart. Barton came into town because he has family Razor, but he also brings his dog Walter. Okay, Walter's awesome. This Labrador. He's bigger than Cooper, and he's beautiful white dog. He comes and so we get together on Friday. We got together quickly to have the dogs play, but Walter doesn't really run around a lot. I mean, he's thick. He's think like middle linebacker, like just thick.
It's Walter.
Okay? It's Walter. Right. It's Walter. Yeah, great dog. And he's older than Coop. Coop doesn't run a retrieve, as I said. Cooper is a receiver, not a retriever. He'll retrieve once and then he wants to come back. But Coop wants to run with other dogs.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to run. He wants to play, jump on him, and everything.
Yeah.
Long story short, we're out of the field and everything, having a great conversation. Again, Bart is just a high-quality individual. Loved meeting him. And finally, Cooper gets Walter to run. Walter takes up. He's running around. He comes around, and then there's myself and my dad and Jake are there, and Bart's there, and we're just talking, whatever. And the dogs do the big loop and whatever. And then Cooper comes back into the crowd, and Walter comes into the crowd.
Pretty clear.
And Walter, absolutely, like a middle linebacker, like Lawrence Taylor, just takes down my dad.
Oh no! Knee surgery.
He just takes him out with like the perfect into the lower body check tackle. And my dad kind of goes down like, I don't know. All of a sudden, it's like we've got the Nesson super slow-mo camera on him. My dad, just goes down. And and
he's
Bart's
okay, folks. He's okay, folks.
Bart's like, oh, he's great. And Bart's like, oh shit, and I'm like, I'm kind of laughing, and I'm also like, oh no, my dad, Mick, are you all right? Mick was fine. He was fine. He gets up. He's an awesome dog. He's just so mellow. He's great. And he goes everywhere with Bart, who just is, loves him. Walter's the reason he got into Bay Dog doing it. So anyways, funny story from the holiday weekend. It's funny because my dad's ACL is just fine, or the MCL is just fine.
What could have been a disaster.
I mean, this dog, but he is strong. Like Cooper could run into you, and Cooper's strong, but he's not like Cooper's 64. Quick.
He's
Walter's, I think 90 something. Anyways, great stuff. Listen, you want to check out, if you've got dog, go check out Baydog, baydog.com. Great company. As I mentioned, from the stores. Also, folks, for the holiday season, they got this brand new thing, the Seaside Collar. Razor and I each have one blue and red, and they got a nautical leather with nautical rope design. Perfect for the holidays. Go check it out. Also, Pet Supply Outlet, Blanchard Road in Belmont. Go there. All right, we spent a lot of time on this. We're having fun with it, but we appreciate Baydog and all that they do. Go check them out. All right. Let's go to the Montreal game. All right. Let's go to that, because that was a great start, even though they didn't score in the first half of the first period. So what? They were playing the right way. They were tighter, etc. And then the Bruins get going, and it's one player in particular who really noticeable is Charlie McAvoy. Definitely came to play to this game. You could tell he was in the moment. He ends up getting a nice pass from the left side D, Osterley, who's in the lineup, taking Walderstrom's spot over to the right side. McAvoy swoops down the right side, gives a bit of almost like a freeze frame type play to get Primo to come to his glove side to his left. And then McAvoy shimmies, he swoops around the net and stuffs it in. It got the Bruins going halfway through the first period, 11:45 to begin. That was classic Charlie McAvoy, right? That's what we've been wanting to see.
That's Charlie McAvoy. And everyone had been sitting for a really long time, right? And that was necessary, really, really necessary for the Bruins, because you could feel tension right out of or just the lack of energy, I suppose. But then that ignited, and that's Charlie. Like you said, he did a great job recognizing Primo being too far out. They did a great job putting pucks on net, creating a rebound, creating a little chaos, and then working from there. So it was the backhand from Frederick that was about 10, 15 seconds earlier. That's their identity now. It really is. Their identity is no longer off the rush, make two passes and score goals. It's we're going to get a rebound and we're going to kind of create chaos for 12 seconds and something will open up from that. It was a perfect example of the McAvoy goal, him reading that, him seeing that, and he showed up. He showed up. There's no question.
55 seconds later, David Pastrnak gets his 9th goal of the season, and this was off of another get the puck to that net, that around the net type area. Zacha ends up hitting Pastrnak, who had been probably about 4 or 5 feet from the crease. He backs away, he sifts away, gets it on the right side, and smokes it upstairs again for his 9th goal of the season. That was almost classic Pastrnak. We still saw him defer or give the. It's not even defer. He gave the puck up on a 2-on-1. I think it was David Savard who made the sprawl play defensively. You're like, no! Like normally he would check off on that one, pretend like he's going to pass, and then snipe it. But Pastrnak does get his 9th goal of the season. That was nice to see, right? That was nice to see the shot, just a quick pass and the shot. So Zacha getting point, Pastrnak getting point there, Razor. Anything more on that goal that you want to bring up?
No, not on the goal, but it's probably a good time. Like he scores the goal, I'm thinking, okay, it's hat trick not for McAvoy, hat trick for
Right.
Pasta.
Right.
Like that's okay.
Right.
That's gonna cook them. This is the night of
Especially given how he dominates Montreal the last
He dominates
few years.
Montreal. He dominates matinees. He dominates spotlights, and he dominates 2-on-1s when he doesn't have to pass.
Right.
But again, no one will ever. David's also the kind of person where you won't really know why he's doing that or why he's not deciding to like. There's some kind of a maybe a. It's also, I'm not going to say as a lack of confidence because he's one of the best players in the world. Like he knows he can score, but there's just something there.
Mm-hmm.
So it just adds to it. There's just something there where he hasn't completely taken over those kind of plays. And whether he's trying to get everybody else going, that might be a leadership thing, right? Maybe there's a leadership where he wants to get Geeky going. He wants to get Zaka going. But at some point, I would have loved him seeing a hat trick. But more importantly, Charlie Coyle scores right after that. For the first time all season, we get the Garden really cooking on back-to-back goals in a short period of time. Everyone's excited. It felt good. It just like should have felt good for the players. I know it felt good for the players.
Yeah. So the goal that you're talking about from Charlie Coyle happened 50 seconds later again, I think it was. Yeah. It was getting there, and Coyle seems to be, like getting into a groove. He was on a line in this game with Kastelik, who had moved up to the right side, and Frederick and Kastelik really got things going.
Love the line.
Yeah, I did too. He got it going on the forecheck along with Fred, behind the net. Again, behind the net. I love when plays, initiate behind the net because first guy pressures, second guy seals. If you handle it the right way, like they did, and then Coyle got it about 7 feet away on the just inner arc of the left side and backhand roofed it past Caden Primo. I mean, you got to just love that. I mean, it's simple hockey at its finest. So you're right, that was great, and again, Kastelik with a real good, and I thought Freddie played well too. That was the fifth goal of the. I beg your pardon. Sixth goal of the season for Charlie Coyle. So 3-0 at the end of one second period. Charlie McAvoy gets a shorthanded goal on a breakaway. He ended up rotating to the side, and he was he was more near the top. And 38 seconds into the period, he goes on a backhand deke that beats Caden Primo. The speed, I think, kept Primo frozen in that area. I don't think he could, whether it's, I don't know what the right term, goalie term, drift out, like, Charlie was coming at him so fast because he was getting chased that Primo kind of had to stand his ground there. Charlie, at the last second, took the puck from front of him just to the right side, just enough. Could he shoot or? Yeah, he could have done both. If you keep the puck straight in front of you, the goalie knows you're going to deke. Charlie moved it a few inches to the right. Did that help? Maybe a little, but then he goes to the backhand on the deke and makes it 4-0 there. That was just, that's just an instinctive play at that moment.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And because of the chaser, as a goalie, you don't think he's actually going to try and make a move. And it's a defenseman, so he's going to shoot the puck low glove or he's going to shoot low blocker, and I'm just going to and Charlie makes that great move and holds on to it because he so patient all the way to the back post and then just slides it in. That's Charlie McAvoy.
Yeah.
That's the those kind of plays that change games. That was the game difference, because if it's 3-0, Montreal stays in the game. 4-0, even though they went back and scored 4-1, it's just different. It really is.
Yeah, it was different a little bit in the third period. Got a little bit hairy. We'll get to that right now in a moment. So it's 4-0. McAvoy kisses the spoke B on the jersey after the breakaway goal. You could tell caught up in the moment in a great way. Love seeing that. Cole Caulfield scores his 15th. Cole Caulfield's having a fantastic year for a team that is struggling in the Montreal Canadiens. Charlie Coyle, though, gets his 7th goal of the season, 21 seconds into the third period. He utilized the same move that we've seen at least one, if not two other times this year, where he stick handles around the goalie again, to the left side, and he tucks it in. He beats Caden Primo for his 7th goal. It is now 5-1 Boston. 2 goals after that from the Montreal Canadiens. Heineman, who, by the way, I like this kid, Emil Heineman. I like his game. Side note, just telling it, like not huge, but good size, plays tough, plays fast. That's his 6th goal of the season. Caulfield gets another one in 16. Now all of a sudden it's 5-3, and we're under 7 minutes in to the third period. But the Bruins figure it out, settle it down. There was one crossbar hit, but by Montreal. But Cole Koepke then puts things away, makes it 6-3 with an empty net goal at the 17:48 mark of the game, so of the third period. The Bruins outshoot the Canadiens 30-29, 54% face-off efficiency for the Bruins. A couple of other things that jump out. Block shots. Bruins did a nice job with 20 of them, and the Bruins had fewer giveaways, 10 for them, 16 for the Canadiens. One other moment in the game, Jaffe and Kastelik. Kastelik was like Jaffe. Arbor was trying to do his job all first period. He was trying to get under guys' skin and stuff. And I get it. You know what? Like, I get it. I don't know if the Bruins were like, hey, we're not going to, we're going to deal with you. He was nudging people. Finally, Kastelik's like, screw that, and he got involved in a little kerfuffle with them. But the linesman got in there so quick, nothing could come of it. We had Terry O'Reilly on in between the first and the second, and we asked him about it. He's like, oh, yeah, no, that wouldn't have happened in our day. But the linesmen are schooled, educated to do it differently right there. But overall, I wouldn't have called it the most physical game, but it had a little bit of something to it, but nothing over the top.
Yeah, it had a little something. Those are the guys, like, it would have had nothing if they just let those guys fight and just, all right, we're done.
Right.
Like that would have ended it. If the game had been a little less close, I think Wi-Fi would have been chasing a little more in the third, but he didn't. They were out there a couple times, and everyone recognized the moment it left. Like they were mad at each other, and it just kind of left. I wish the league could use common sense on that, but it's the linesmen have been given a mandate, and
right.
We saw that he ate at least one. He might have ate I think he ate one from Kastelik, and then I think he ate one from Wi-Fi. And if it was up to him, he probably wouldn't have gotten in the middle of it.
The linesman, yeah.
Yes.
So actually, Jake picked up on that before I did. My son Jake was there, and he said, "Is that why the guys He said, "Is that why they got the 10-minute misconducts, or were they just trying to settle it down?" And because they wouldn't stop once the linesman came in. If first of all, if you have not intent, even if you really hit a referee, that's a bad penalty. But I think it was more to settle things down.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think it was, if we give them 2 each, they're going to fight in 2 minutes and 2 seconds.
Right, exactly.
So let's give them the period, the intermission, everyone settles down. The end of the game, by the time they're done, they're not going to want to fight because there's 10 minutes left and they're on their way to a day off tomorrow.
Yeah. Although the Bruins now have practice. How about that? I saw the email. I was surprised. I thought it was a day off, and it said 11:30 practice.
Because they can now, again, with the CBA, they'll give them Thursday off, so they can actually have 2 days, because they have back-to-back. They have 1 day off a week, which is Thursday, and they'll actually get some work done. So I know some of the guys want to break new equipment in, and they're kind of okay with it.
So we saw a little tweakage of the lines. We'll touch on that super quick as we get ready to wrap this show up. The top 2 lines remained intact, but Mark McLaughlin comes back into the lineup. He goes to the 4th line. Beecher slides to the center of the 4th line. That means Mark Kastelik goes up to the right side with Coyle and Frederick. He had 2 assists in the game. Charlie Coyle, as I mentioned, he had 2 goals in the game and 3 shots. And then, and Trent Frederick, he had an assist in the game and he had 4 hits. So there's a very involved line. I'm guessing we'll see that line iteration happen again come Tuesday night against the Detroit Red Wings. As we mentioned earlier, McAvoy with 2 goals, plus 4 in the game, 4 shots, 3 blocks, couple of hits. And Cole Koepke, who gets the empty net goal, had a goal and assist, so a 2-point game. He had a very good line too. 1 shot, 5 other attempts, 2 hits. He was involved. So my guess, just a guess, if everything being equal, we'll see the same lineup for Tuesday night against Detroit. Speaking of Detroit is the next game on Tuesday night. That game at TD Garden. Wednesday, the Bruins travel to Chicago to take on the Blackhawks. Both games, folks, are not on NESN. Both games are national network games. If I remember correctly, Tuesday, I think, is ESPN, and Wednesday is TNT.
Yeah.
Okay. Razor, you and I will come back and do a show Thursday morning. Our next show will be Thursday morning. I'm heading to the NHL Network for a couple of days, and therefore, we're going to wait till Thursday morning to record the next episode of Morning Brew, episode of Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, and we will get one out there. So, again, Bruins next 2 games, Detroit Tuesday and Chicago on Wednesday. Again, 2 very, very, very winnable games. I mean, go on this run. Give yourself a little breathing room's not the right term anymore. Just give yourself a little bit of, stability. Maybe that's the right word. Stability.
Stability is a perfect word.
Bruins have played 26 games. They have 26 points right now. They are in 3rd place of the Atlantic Division. However, it's the point percentage, which would put them actually below the Tampa Bay Lightning. So technically they're in 4th. Regardless, long way to go before we need to worry about a lot of that stuff. All right, I think that's going to wrap up this Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Again, holiday season around here, folks. And as our good friend says, who says we wear our hats too much, we say, hey, phooey on you. If you want
to buy a hat,
go look at a hat at fazendacoffee.com/morningbrew. And also, again, go check out all of our sponsors, Graciano, Sparks, and Bay Dog. Thank you to them. Anything else, Razor, before we wrap this one up?
No.
Okay.
It's a great day. Great day. Good win. Needed it, but more to do.
More to do. All right, that's going to wrap up this Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Everybody, Bruins win 6-3. We will talk to you again. Our next episode, Thursday morning. RC, the man, the myth, the legend, will get it out. In between now and then, you have many opportunities to enjoy your coffee.